Hey guys, we are at AHR 2025 in the Rinnai booth. Andy, tankless water heaters, boilers, we got heat pumps over there, we got commercial water heaters. We're going to look at a lot of them today. Right. Guys, Andy and I are going to have a conversation about our experience with tankless, right. Some of the really cool time-saving features that Rinnai's built into their new system. Should we get right into it?
Let's do it.
All right.
We got a couple of things, you know. I mean, Rinnai's always been that company, though. You and I have been putting them in for a long time.
Yeah, they've been in our markets for as long as I can remember. I guess my first experience with tankless was with Rinnai.
Right. Yeah. That's mine as well. But I think one of the things that I remember back from the old days of Rinnai was vent kits.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
They had the old
Concentric for the non-condensing and stuff like that.
And that was kind of the way you did it. You had to have that. Well, now we got some new vent kits. Polypropylene, inside, outside. They make a compact version of this.
Yep.
This longer version if you've got a little bit of standoff on the wall.
Well, and you can also noted, this is a termination kit, right?
Right.
So you can buy this as a package. You can get longer, shorter. You can actually get vertical, which is a little bit different, of course,
sure.
Because you're going to have like a rain cap on it. Nice time-saving thing, but you can also just get lengths of pipe, fittings, things like that.
Absolutely.
Okay, so what's cool about this, is the time savings part of it, right? You and I were talking before this. I do a lot of two-pipe, intake exhaust installations, right. And admittedly, it's more material, takes way more time, and if I'm honest with myself, I'm setting myself up probably to make more mistakes that way, right? I got to have more hangers, I got to have more material overall, I got to haul all that out to the job. And Andy was saying, dude, I'm installing this every chance I get. Right. If I can do concentric, that's the first thing I'm going to do.
Well, it's one hole through the wall, right?
Yeah.
This kit, this is a super easy install. It's a 4-inch hole.
Yeah.
Right. So we're gonna drill a 4-inch hole through the wall, spray foam around it, caulk around it, whatever to do to seal that building envelope. We got nice flashing around it.
Yep.
It just trims up really nicely on the outside of the house.
I like the termination too. Just the design of it seems to work really well in the colder climates. It's not going to ice up very easily. Of course, you got to keep this free from snow and stuff like that. But did you know that part of the new system, guys? Check this out. So they've got this this laser for the vent kit. So this is really cool.
It is.
And we were looking at this before we started the video, and this makes a lot of sense to me. So if whether you're using the concentric, Andy, or for example, PVC, so they've sized this also for PVC, you can place this in your venting. And let's say you're venting out this way, and you got to go 12 feet over. You can just hit this button. Maybe it was already on. There we go. Can you pick that up, Lane? Look at that. So it's going to project a laser beam all the way over to where you could then drill your hole. And in fact, this particular fitting, it's not 90 degrees. I think it's 87 degrees, something like that. Right. It's not exactly important right now. It's not 90, so it's going to actually build the pitch in to wherever you're going to drill that hole over there.
Yeah. So you could measure off that center line, drop down for hanger spacing. If you were running 15 feet across the basement, have all your hangers pre-installed and penetration going out of sidewall.
Yeah, this is just high enough to where I'm short. No, this is going to work. Hold that.
Hold that.
All right, so then also just to reiterate, now if you're going vertical, that's really nice. It's like today's plumb bob.
Exactly.
All right, I think that was a cool time saver that Rinnai's built into this new system, but there's more. I've done a few installations. You've done a few installations. Yep. One thing we didn't have before is this standoff bracket, right?
This is neat.
It is neat. What are your first thoughts when you see that?
So when we first started talking about this, one of the things we always run into is, especially if we're banking these, if I got two in somebody's house or in a commercial application, we got piping next to it, right? You got to have room for that. If you don't have the room, now we can run the piping right up behind it. You can see it coming out the back. This bracket is just, it's pretty sweet.
It is sweet. It's really simple because although you still have the same amount of mounting time and everything like that, now you build it out. A couple things you could do if there's existing piping or electrical on the wall or something like that. I mean, you've never ran into that before,
no,
right?
Not at all.
One thing I cringe at is when I'm looking at the job and we're going to try to retrofit tankless into it, we're replacing a tank. there's never enough wall space. And I honestly look at this and I see the benefit of being able to run pipe around it and stuff. But if you've got, let's say, a conduit running across the wall, but it's just in the way of where you wanted to hang that. Before, our options were pretty limited. Basically, you're stacking lumber, which isn't ideal, right? Probably setting yourself up for some kind of failure point.
It just doesn't look great.
This is repeatable. I'm not cutting lumber or anything like that. That's a huge time saver. And it makes a lot of sense. Like you said, multiple units. It's actually going to get them off the wall. You can start moving pipe, compacting it a little bit more. I like it.
Well, in a retrofit application too, we can drop this unit down a little bit. And if we've got hot and cold supplies coming out of the existing wall for an existing tank, we can connect to those. You know, if we drop the unit down a little bit and come right out the top, you're right into your existing connections.
It's not mandatory, but really ultimately what they're addressing though is that the traditional installation, you're going to have to make room for piping on the side. Right. And although not the end of the world, that's what we've been doing forever. But if you look at just a couple things, just less fittings, if you've got piping coming down and you were retrofitting a tank and this is going to sit exactly where that tank was, but on the wall, that's going to be easier to plumb. I like it. I like it.
New gas valve design too, and the control. So
yeah, this whole Sensi, the whole system's new. So now you don't have to convert this by changing orifices, small parts, that kind of stuff. That's actually really sweet.
It is.
That's all done in the commissioning through the app. Okay, and that app though isn't Wi-Fi; it's actually Bluetooth.
Bluetooth, yep. So you just link your phone right up to it, download the Rinnai Connect app, and you've got everything right there. And you've done a couple of them. I've done a couple of them. It's probably the fastest tankless that I've commissioned. Going through it, and you look at it, and you're like, I got to be missing something.
I know.
Right? I didn't do something. I missed something. You know, get the instructions out. I missed something. No, it's all done.
It's done.
You know, your altitude set, your gas type, you know, indoor connections, outdoor venting, all that's done right through it. You know, so.
Speaking of outdoor venting, actually, so here's another thing that I thought was super impressive. Covered this in a previous video about the RXP, the Sensi unit. So, of course, I'm in Minnesota. Everything we plumb is inside the building envelope. It's never going outside. It's not going up in the attic. No, we don't do that. It's not possible. However, a good portion of the country can install outside, which is great for them. I wish I could do that. It'd be a lot easier. But they've got this Versa vent system. So, okay, so really what this is, it's a shroud that goes on top of the unit and it converts it from your Concentric or your PVC, whatever. This is gonna, there is some screws involved, but it's very quick to install. But this is just gonna insert right on, this is about as long as it takes to install, by the way. This is gonna insert right there. You reach in and there's a couple screws to secure it so that it can't be popped off or something, you know, wind isn't gonna catch this and pop it off. But now you've converted the same water heater that could be installed inside to an outdoor unit, and that's it, just by adding that. Now, in years past, again, we don't deal with this because we live in cold climates, but I know what this means as a business owner. In years past, with any other line before this or the competition, you had an outdoor unit, an indoor unit. If you're working in the kind of market where you're doing one or the other, you had to stock 2 different SKUs.
Absolutely.
So that's a time saver. It's really good. Just cuts down on your inventory, and then the difference would be then just capacity and whether or not it has a pump for recirc.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Rinnai's also got a couple of different valve sets for these units.
They do, yeah.
So we got your standard 2-valve unit. There's also a 3rd valve unit. So when you have a dedicated recirc, you can put that service valve on there. Which anybody that's put in a recirc line, the number one thing that people forget on a recirc line is a drain valve. Some way to purge that. Comes right on that. You could close the valve, open the drain, purge your recirc out, and your commissioning's done in like nothing flat.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really cool. The setup on the phone is really nice, and not to just only focus on tankless water heaters, but I'd like to encourage guys, if you're on the fence and you're trying to get into the heating game, if you look at these 2 models, I mean, minus the clear cover, these water heaters are identical. There's nothing different about how they look and how they hang on the wall. Some of the connection points might be different, but this is actually a heating boiler. So they're using relatively the same chassis, a lot of the same parts. It's programmed and it's going to operate differently, but if you're familiar with getting this in there, the parts and pieces you're going to need to connect it, it's impressive. And then this being a combi boiler is really cool. It's something that I haven't seen anybody else do. I could be wrong, but from what I know, it doesn't exist except for here. Is they're not prioritizing hot water production. They can actually do space heating and hot water at the same time.
Interesting.
Which, again, not something I'm used to seeing. So they're not having to turn off the space heating if there's a, if somebody turns on a faucet.
Sure.
Which just changes how everything is working inside of this, which is really impressive.
Reduces cycle count for sure.
Absolutely. It's going to keep the unit running more evenly, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. A lot of time-saving stuff, a lot of new technology built into this. There is some new other water heaters on the floor here that I'm going to get our first look at today.
Right.
Some commercial stuff. I've done the heat pump, but let's go take a look at that.
All right, sounds good.
All right, dude. So this is the Rinnai REHP. I've installed a couple of them.
Yep.
Pretty cool. So Rinnai electric heat pump water heater. I think that's what that stands for. Electric water heater, as we're used to it, of course, with the heat pumps, two 4,500 watt elements.
Right.
Nearly silent. I can't, honestly, it's impressive how quiet this thing is.
Sure.
I've been around only a few heat pumps that I've been around, and a couple of them are kind of loud.
Yeah.
Not Rinnai's though. I should point that out. I'm not talking about Rinnai's being loud.
Right.
Really cool features as far as like you could hook this up to your power management system if you're doing like off peak or peak demand, that kind of stuff. You've got vacation mode. You've got to be able to. You can run it in just electric, just heat pump. Combination of the two, it'll start to prioritize heat pump when it can, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
See inside connections on here.
Yep.
Insulation jacket.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, all brass connections, which is impressive. I think, I just cringe when I see a water heater with anything but solid connections like that.
Yep.
So it's nice. I like it. There are handles on the side of it, which is interesting. You don't see a lot of handles on tanks.
No.
I mean, they're just like that kind of cup hold.
Yeah,
but you can move it around because of that.
Right.
This is a 65. I know it's available in a 50, 65, and 80.
Okay. So good size offering.
Yeah. Yeah.
Standard 4,500 watt elements. So
yeah.
So connection power is going to be standard 30 amp, 2-pole breaker. So
yeah.
Good, easy to retrofit.
Yeah. Power on the front toward the top. So basically about where most existing electric water heaters are going to be run already.
These guys come with a duct kit as an accessory?
It's an accessory, so you do have to put a shroud on it. There's access from the top and side there for the ducting. And then without any extra tools or anything, there's that intake filter.
Yeah.
So yeah, honestly, it's been performing great, the couple that I've got out there.
Right.
Heat pumps, we're gonna see more and more of them. I know in a couple of years, I think it's anything over 35 gallons for electric is going to be a heat pump.
Sure.
So I think Rinnai's getting out in front of it with this product. I think they nailed it. But yeah, I mean, honestly, it was interesting to see that they had this because they've been a tankless company for as long as we know.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. All right, let's go look at a commercial.
So it's commercial heaters.
All right, guys. So we're with Matt, still in the Rinnai booth. This is awesome, Matt. You guys have a whole bunch of tanks. Not super used to seeing that with Rinnai, the tankless company.
Yeah.
What are these here?
These are our new commercial electric tank offering, the RCET series.
Okay.
So we offer these in two volumes, 50 and 80 gallons. Each are available in either a 12 kilowatt or an 18 kilowatt configuration. We're getting in the national accounts. We've got a lot of food service applications where they don't have gas readily available. So we needed an offering for them to be able to have a solution for our customers with the Rinnai quality. So we're launching these 4 models first, just to get into small, light-duty commercial, lots of food service with these.
Right on.
What kilowatt offerings do you offer in these?
We offer a 12 kilowatt and an 18 kilowatt in each. So you can see this is actually your 12 kilowatt offering. So you have 2 relays there. With the 18 kilowatt, it would be an additional 3rd relay. The 12 kilowatt's going to have 3 4,000 watt elements. The 18 kilowatt's going to have 6 3,000 watt elements.
Okay.
It's the same tank. They're just blanks in there for the 12 kilowatt offering.
All right. And available as 3-phase if needed.
Yeah, available as you can convert to 3-phase in the field. They're going to come standard 240 volt single phase and 3-phase convertible if
I've
needed.
been in a lot of back rooms at like sandwich shops and stuff like that where we see electric tanks as kind of standard, really.
Yeah.
Not a huge water demand, mostly like dish and cleaning.
Right.
I mean, they're not doing like anything much more than that.
Yeah, that's really what we see for this. Your sandwich shops, your gas stations that have the small kitchens involved in them, things like that. Nothing large, hospitality, multifamily, just your smaller commercial light duty stuff like the small sandwich shops.
It looks nice, but you got some others over here, of course. Now these are fascinating to me, to be completely honest with you. Just the whole idea that you're using tankless to heat these tanks. Now this one's got 2 of them on it. That one looks like it has 1. What's going on here? What are these for?
We have a full offering to replace any commercial tank type heater in the market. From 160,000 BTUs on an 80-gallon tank up to 398,000 BTUs on a 120-gallon tank. It's a full drop-in replacement. Will go in and place right inside, just with a lot of benefits. So by installing the tankless engine on the outside of the tank, we've removed all the thermal stresses that wear out that glass lining that cause premature failures and leaking tanks. And with that, we're able to offer a 6-year tank warranty, which is going to be double others in the industry because of that. Not to mention other benefits. When you're removing the heat exchanger from the tank itself, you're actually, with the heat exchanger inside, they displace about 30 gallons of water. And then we're able to recover the full volume. So at the end of the day, we have double the tank volume of readily hot available water, which is going to lend us to have the highest first hour rating in the industry.
Really?
So these units, is this a different unit that would be here versus your commercial hang on the wall tankless?
No, that's the great thing about our commercial water heating portfolio is everything is based off the standard CX199 tankless engine. So this engine's available in distribution. Once it's connected to the thermistor, it knows that it's part of a Demand Duo product, and it's going to begin powering the pump on and off and recovering when needed.
Right.
Yep.
Well, and that's one of the things that we've sold for years with our restaurants, that we've installed something similar prior to your package units. We used to put a pair of them on the wall in a 120-gallon storage tank.
Yeah.
Circulate it. Now, I mean, we've got a slide-in package that we can do this with. The longevity of it is that tank's going to outlast a lot of the components, and with having this modular system, we're able to mix and match, get the customer up and going. Not necessarily mix and match, but we're able to come in and replace a heat engine.
Yeah, that's what we had in mind when we developed this product. Is not only is it a drop-in replacement with a higher first hour delivery, it's a repair versus replace scenario. So we don't worry about the tank failing without that thermal stress inside. We've got an 8-year, 12,000 hour warranty on the heat exchanger, and if that fails at year 9, you can come in with a Phillips head screwdriver, easily remove the front cover, pull the heat exchanger out, put it in, and you're back up and running. You're not incurring the cost of a whole nother tank product. You're not doing heavy demo to remove a tank and put a new one in. You can come in, replace any component in here, and at the end of the day, worst case scenario, these are available in local distribution. You could go and grab an engine off the shelf, take a couple unions off and set it right in place and be back up and running quickly.
That's a really attractive program. What you're doing is really taking just a very mediocre tank system that's kind of been out in the industry for a very long time. Mediocre really, because I say that performance is okay, longevity isn't, and cost is about as high as it gets when you look at some of the very prevalent systems that are out there. Does that make sense? Like, yeah. I don't want to name any names, but like, look, there's a lot of commercial tank water heaters out there, and they don't last very long.
Yeah. But they get used hard.
They do. Well, because everything you just said, like, you took all of the problems with the tank and took it out of the tank, and you're taking care of that with this engine right here. That's very cool. And does this come? It's all modular. I suppose this is not installed. Like, I'm just trying to wrap my mind around it. I'm not going to install one of these anytime soon. Well, if I order this, how's it packaged up?
Yeah, so everything you see here is fully assembled at our plant in Griffin, Georgia.
Really?
So we have a commercial assembly cell where they produce all of our tankless rack systems, all of our Demand Duos. They're manufactured on the line. After they're complete, they go into the test cell, and we're hydro testing the entire assembly, doing quality checks before they roll into packaging. So when you get it on site, you don't have any leaks, everything's good, been quality checked. You uncrate it. These actually come in a corrugated cardboard box, ready to go just as you see it. Everything, you're just going to make your gas connection and your cold and hot supply from the tank. That's all you have to do.
And then, of course, you're venting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, venting's a big deal. You know, a lot of the condensing tanks in the market, you see they're individually vented. So you put in multiples in a multifamily or hospitality application, and you see a lot of vent penetrations, a lot of different vent runs. Being that this is our standard CX199 tankless engine, we can common vent up to 12 of these together on a 6-inch header. So you install two of our single demand duos side by side, common vent them into a 3-inch header. You've got 2 building penetrations, and you've saved a lot of cost with venting as well.
Yep.
That's impressive. So speaking of common venting, I see over here you've got some rack systems available with tankless. It's going to be a departure from this setup, more conventionally what we think about multiple tankless being installed, but let's go and check that out.
Okay.
All right, Matt, so wall hung tankless and a rack system. This is going to be commercial. I guess you could maybe get in some residential. You might see something like this.
We do. We see some larger houses that utilize our 2-unit rack configuration. So we offer wall hung racks and freestanding racks. So on the wall hung version, we have a 2 and 3 unit rack. On freestanding, we do up to 6 tankless together on a freestanding rack. So with the wall hung, it's just about maxing it at 3, just due to being able to maneuver it, get it in, hang it up on the wall with 2 guys. We have 2-inch water manifolds on all these wall hung racks. So you could actually put 2 side by side if you needed 5 or 6 units together, and then just couple the manifolds together. But yeah, this is going to be large residential. We utilize our rack systems for larger applications as well. Hotels, we could utilize 2 6-unit racks in a hotel even. We can cascade up to 24 of these together, and they're going to alternate, share usage amongst each other, so you're going to have that longevity with all your tankless system providing on demand.
You've done some multi-tankless installations over the years, right?
Yep. Yeah, we've had good success with them. Nursing home, that, you know, you're talking the multifamily thing, that having the header and everything just pre-connected, ready to go is such a huge time saver.
Yeah, that's the real value add here is time, right?
Yeah.
So especially in installations where you may have 6 or more tankless water heaters.
Yep.
We're, again, in our assembly cell in Griffin, we're pre-manifolding these together for you. Once they roll off the line, we're hydro testing to 150 PSI. We're leak testing the gas.
Really?
All your quality checks are there. So when you get this in the field, you have your 3 connections, your hot, your cold, and your gas, instead of coming in and having to worry about manifolding these together, setting up all your manifolds, modifying in the field. It's all completely done for you, which is going to minimize your time out there on site installing it.
I think it looks great. When I look at this, so you're saying that this is going to come fully assembled like this right out of the crate?
Yep.
I'm gonna get this delivered out to a job from my supplier, and we're going to be all piped up?
Yep, everything is done at the factory. Everything's completed just as you see it here. This is how it would come out of the crate. The wall hanging version comes with this hanging bracket. So you go in and you can mount your hanging bracket on the wall, and then you'll just lift it up and place it over the hanging bracket.
Okay. You can actually get this designed for you, though. As a contractor, I could contact Rinnai, and you do that as a service as well, engineering?
Yeah, so we have an application engineering team. We call it the Application Engineering Center of Excellence. Anybody can send in a job type. Really all they need is the application type, the location, so that we know groundwater temperatures, supply temperatures, and they will go through and they'll size that out. And they're going to give multiple different options, whether it's a demand duo, whether it's a rack system.
Right.
That's a 100% sizing guarantee. Rinnai
Really?
takes that responsibility. So, you know, it's going to be right when you get it out there. And if it's not right, Rinnai will make it right.
That's fantastic. And do you do any design services or anything like that for heating systems?
We do. Yeah, we actually have a commercial sales engineer group as well. We offer full factory startups with those. So after installation, they'll come in, do a full combustion analysis, make sure all the components are in the right place, and you look at it really as an insurance policy for your installation if anything was to go wrong in the future.
That's really cool. We talked about, Andy and I talked about the tankless, talked about the Combi boiler. We didn't mention, although I do want to at the end here, just real quick, you guys have full capacity to do commercial boilers as well.
We do.
You're offering a couple models of those?
Yeah, so we launched, I think third quarter last year, we launched our wall hung version, the RCB 301 and 399, which are 301,000, 399,000 BTUs.
Okay.
And then in November, we launched our floor standing models, which we have available in 500,000 BTU, 750,000 BTU, and 1 million BTU.
A million?
Million BTUs.
I can't even imagine what a million BTUs is. That's so cool, man. I do appreciate it.
Not a problem.
All right, have a good day,
you.
man. All right, Andy, what do you think overall?
I think the booth was big from the outside, and now we're standing inside. I can see why.
Yeah,
There's
I
a
think
lot of new gear here.
It's a lot. It's really impressive. I think the time-saving features that they built, or the accessories for the tankless, is like immediately for me something I can put to use.
Oh yeah.
I think it's cool to share that kind of information.
Snapped a few pictures as we were walking around to get some model numbers because I got an order already started for some of this.
There you go, guys. You better order your stuff too.
That's right.
Thanks for joining us here in the Rinnai booth at AHR 2025. Stay tuned on our channel. There's tons of videos that we've been shooting the last couple of days, Andy and I, and it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Absolutely.
Have a good one.
See you.